Straw Hut Media.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to Release Date Rewind, a podcast that celebrates movie anniversaries, and it's now part of Straw Hut Media. I'm your host, Mark J. Parker, and thank you for either listening to this on your favorite podcast app or watching on YouTube. If you're like me, you're a film lover, maybe a filmmaker, maybe a film anniversary enthusiast, but either way, you probably like podcasts about movies. And we have a fun movie for you in this episode. We are leaving Brooklyn and Dino Hatton from last episode, and now we're going to the scary, sweaty woods of West Virginia. We're going back 20 years ago to May 2003, when Ruben Studdard had just won American Idol Season 2, beating Clay Aiken. And on May 30th of that year, the Mountain Men were unleashed, and Wrong Turn was released in theaters in the US. Mayday, Mayday, help us! If you haven't seen this movie or need to rewatch before we ruin everything for you, it's sadly not streaming anywhere with a subscription, but you can rent it or just do what I did and find the full movie on YouTube for free. Shh. Alright, campers and cannibals, let's climb some trees because it's time to rewind. This is great, and I love to see
white shirts, any white tanks.
I was going to say, I love to see the black tank.
Black tank.
You're the other Dushku. You're the other douche.
Somebody did this on purpose.
Oh my God.
This wasn't an accident. It's not even that intense. It's like, this wasn't an accident. Like, she's more pissed. This wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
Somebody did this on purpose.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it. I love that you are using, what was that, like a bracelet or a hair tie?
This is a hair tie that looks kind of like a telephone wire. It's meant to not snag your hair.
Oh, I love it. Great use of props in your little home studio. Kit Sheehan is back on the show, everybody. We have begun.
Hey.
We were just talking about getting old. It's Kit's birthday week.
So
Happy
old.
birthday week.
Thank you.
By the time this episode comes out, you will already be a year older. So this will be a fun game. So much wiser. Just in a few days. A world of wisdom. But this will be a fun game. You now have to tell me what did you do on your birthday? Because this will be out next week. So you now have to talk in the past tense. So how was it?
What did I do? My birthday was so good. It was crazy. I woke up on a bed of unicorn's hair, which never happens. It was just for my birthday. And then I stepped outside and Greta Gerwig. I'm trying to think because I was going to say like Steven Spielberg was there. And you know what? No, I love Steven Spielberg, but fuck him. I want to work with Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig was there. And
Barbie
she was
too.
Like, oh my God, Kit Sheehan. I want to do Barbie too. We're doing Teresa. So she has a long dark hair, don't trim it an inch. I would be like, Greta, wasn't going to, can't wait.
There you go. And you signed on the dotted line, right?
I signed on the dotted line, $50 million, and I still went and got a free Denny's Grand Slam for my birthday because it's my birthday.
Hey, you gotta, the little things are what makes the birthday. Love it. Now, okay, back in the real world, what are your plans for your birthday? For real?
So for real, the unicorn hair, yes. The Grand Slam part is probably not a lot. That probably is going to happen. There's a Denny's around the corner. Most of my actual birthday day, I am going to try to spend doing like free things like that around LA. Like there's on Larchmont, which is this really cute boulevard that like Ash and I walk to. And it's like, it's like a downtown and it has all these actual, like, it has a bunch of chain stores now too, but it has like individual unique stores and they have poke there. They'll give you a free poke bowl. I'll get a veggie one.
Yeah, veggie poke, right?
Veggie poke, which is basically just, a bunch of avocado.
Yeah.
And then there's right next door, there's a Jenny's ice cream scoop. So probably going to get a scoop there.
Is that like Jeni?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
I
is.
like Jenny's.
You
Yeah.
know her, you know.
Oh yeah, she's a good
She
girl.
goes way back, and she is, yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
But then for the part, so then on the weekend on Sunday, I'm having like a picnic in Griffith Park
Nice.
with a bunch of LA friends. You are invited.
Oh, thank you.
If
I'll
you
see you
can make
there. Oh
it,
yeah,
yes.
and shout out to Katie
Memorial Day
Hughes, because
weekend.
doesn't Katie Hughes now live in LA?
Yes, Katie lives in LA. Fine, the whole friend group of NYU people were like, we knew, like Rachel told us like 4 years ago, she's like, if we keep fucking telling Katie to move here, she never will. She will feel pressured. So Katie was like talking about, I might move to Berlin, and we were like, cool, that sounds so fun, European adventure. And then bit by bit by bit, we got her to come down.
Wow.
So she is
That's so
invested
sweet.
in LA.
I know. I really got to get to LA. I cannot believe
Yes.
Kit Sheehan, that I think the last time I visited LA might have been like
When you got
13 years
engaged?
ago, which
I
is
think
crazy.
Was it when you got engaged?
That was San Diego. We didn't go to LA.
Oh, you didn't go to LA at all. I knew that was
No.
SoCal. La
Yeah.
Jolla.
La Jolla. Yes.
I remember
Beautiful.
everything.
Yes. We
I'm
were talking about
such a
San
little
Diego.
weirdo.
Yeah. That was 2015. So that was the last time I've been to California, which I feel like is far too long. It's been a while.
It is.
Yeah.
You'll like it more. I know you hated it back in the day. And
we'll see.
there's
so much
some bullshit.
Traffic. Oh yeah,
I
there's
know
some bullshit.
some-
Well, tell me about the writer's strike. Like, are you seeing and like what's the vibe in LA? I mean, tell us.
It's intense. It is intense. The vibe is very anxious. Everyone is very strung out. Everyone is like up to here with it. And you see all around the studios,
protests
thankfully,
and
protests,
rallies
people,
and stuff.
Yeah, people with signs. I have not gone to any yet, only because my day job has been prevented my like nannying jobs. But I mean, SAG could very well also SAG. Our negotiations start on September 7th.
Yeah,
and I am not afraid to say I voted yes to authorize us going to a strike on those.
Nice. There you go.
Ones.
She's got her tank top on and she's ready.
I got my final girl tank top, and they are gonna have to murder me brutally with
get the barbed wire and get the tank on.
No, and they probably would. They would if they would think that it would make a shit. But if we don't do it now, if we don't strike now, it will be never. It should have been done in 2007, and SAG didn't get on board, and the DGA didn't get on board, and the writers were talking about this exact same thing. The writers got a teensy bit of residuals.
I remember that writer's strike back then in 2008.
Yes,
that was when I was interning at One. Yeah, I was interning at One Life to Live last semester of college during that, and it was an interesting time to work in the writing department.
Oh, that's
a soap opera.
You graduated early.
I graduated a semester early. Yeah, because we were class of 09, but
that's why I was like, I remember in
Greenwich
being like Greenwich Hotel, which would have been junior year, but being like, oh my god, like no more 30 Rock for a while. Like that's the level it affected me. But even then, I was like, but wait, Tina Fey's not getting paid if it's streamed on NBC.com, but like. I have to stream it on NBC.com. I'm a functioning alcoholic college person. Yeah. I'm not home at 8:30. I'm not must-see TV comes the next day when I'm like hungover eating in the dining hall. Come on. And now they're bringing robots in. Literally robots in, and they are taking the work that we've done as actors and writers and set designers, and they're feeding that work to the robots, and the robots are learning from us, but we're not being paid for that. And no shade to robots. Love them. Love Wally. Love honestly Ex Machina Slay Girl. Like lock his ass up. Fuck them guys. Like your nomadic pixie dream robot. You're your own woman person robot thing. Go out. Right. But that being said, it's not gonna ever progress. Like movies will suck, and when I say movies will suck, I mean literature, I mean art, I mean like communism was overthrown in certain countries because they got bootleg Chuck Norris DVDs that made them excited, or the VHSs that made them excited to be like, fuck you, I'm gonna kick you and eat a burger, I don't care. Like this is bullshit. Like it changes things, it changes the world, and it's gonna just start regurgitating the most hateful, moronic parts of us, which we all have in us, and nothing will ever continue on from this. We're already eating our own tail, and we're just going to keep devolving.
There you go. Whoa. What a way to end that part of this episode. Oh my gosh, Kit.
They could never have written Wrong Turn. A robot could never have written Wrong Turn. It's beautiful.
Speaking of Wrong Turn, the movie we're going to get into, I love hearing that, Kit. I love that Kit is, we are both actually, this is my version, we are both wearing Wrong Turn cosplay. Yes. If you're watching on YouTube, Kit has her tank. She's got her Eliza Dushku hair. 2003, everyone, was the year of the tank, the lead final girl with her brown hair usually, right? Yes. In the tank and jeans.
The innocent ones.
Right, tank, exactly.
The lowest rise jeans, the flattest ass, God bless us. But the flattest ass, the lowest
and
jeans.
A nice sheen of sweat at all times.
Which I also have because I'm in my home vocal booth. Then it's on.
There you go.
You will hear at some point, apologies, podcasters, because you will hear this phantom
Oh yeah, that's all right.
every now and then.
She's using an old script as a fan, which is so LA. It's just so LA. But so she's got her Eliza on. I'm like, what can I wear? The boys in this movie are wearing pastels. So, and they're wearing button downs. I'm like, these boys are looking so nice. Well, we know Chris is on his way to an interview in another state or something. But so I'm like, well, let me get my blue button down.
Excuse.
I know. He just wanted to look, slightly upscale cash, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Kevin Zegers from Air Bud, who just looks absolutely hilarious in his weird glasses, his shaggy hair, some design on his white shirt.
I was like, you look like Ian Somerhalder, but you're not.
Yeah, you look like Ian Somerhalder's third cousin who likes to say he's related to Ian Somerhalder. But I did have a brief crush on Mr. Kevin Zegers from Air Bud back in the day. And it's kind of interesting to see him in his underwear and their little sexual scene in this movie. Did you catch that? Yes. You would think the camera would cut once hands are at his pants, but no, she pulls him down, and then we are seeing full gray boxer briefs.
Yes.
Which, is, hey, it works, but it's just okay, we're taking that layer down. We're going further before the cut. Okay. Wow. All right.
They had to really, by showing their bodies, they had to, what they were intending to do was to be like, see, they're not innocent. And so they need to be killed. But what I see is I'm like, innocent people wear underwear too.
Right. Yeah. Innocent people wear nice gray boxer briefs.
Their paramours that they're dating when no one else is around.
Right. Yeah. But so before we rewind to 2003 to Wrong Turn, I just want to give Kit a shout out because I'm pretty sure this is your 5th time on the pod. Let me think. First episode was The Others and American Werewolf in London. Yes. Then it was, I think, Swim Fan. Then I Know What You Did Last Summer. Then Dawson's Creek.
Yes, because Dawson's Creek was a very
special episode of Release Date Rewind, which I'm going to do more TV next month. Everyone, I'll give you the announcement now. I think I'm going to do
Dawson's
the
Creek
25th.
Again.
It's going to be a redo with different guests. Let's see what else we can talk about. No, it's going to be the 25th anniversary of Sex and the City, a very hugely popular show. So I feel like that could be really great. That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
But this is your 5th episode. So welcome to the Five Timers Club.
Thank you.
That's pretty cool.
God, it is.
Thanks for
so honored.
devoting your hours to these movies. Some of them great, some not so great. And this pod.
All fun. So literally anytime. Thank you so much for
my God.
So much fun.
And you know what? Also, I was thinking, I was looking up other 2003 horror movies, and I feel like this was me and Kit. We were end of sophomore year, going into junior year of high school, and I feel like the two of us were
to get my jaw broken and wired shut.
That's right. That was this summer. That was Pirates of the Caribbean. I remember that.
Yes. The first time I saw it with Clorinda and Katie and my mom. And my mom had them sit in a separate room because she was like, what if Katie or anyone, not just Kate, but what if someone laughs really big and then their hands hit my daughter's face and her jaw breaks. So I had to sit behind Kate.
Oh my God, your mom literally was like, you're going to sit here in a safe seat.
Yes.
Wow.
She was like, no, we stay back here.
Wow.
No one is getting excited. This curse is way too intense for a broken jaw. And then I think she probably realized that was bullshit, which is why by the time we went and saw it, she was like, just do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
Yeah, just be careful. 2003 in horror, at least, we had here's a smattering of films. Final Destination 2, which we loved, the whole log in your face.
And that was right after my jaw surgery because I was terrified by the doctor episode where he started to suffocate on the thing. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I just had a bad. And then Saw came out. And I was like, I had some really bad jaw things happen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Saw with the jaw. Oh, yeah. But we had that. We had like Darkness Falls. We had, of course, Wrong Turn. We had Identity. Do you remember Identity was so good with John Cusack at the motel? That was a good one.
Twist. What a twist.
Yes,
we had,
lots of
Texas. Did you just say Texas?
Yes. No, I didn't say.
Texas Chains. Another final girl in a tank top with some dirt and a sweaty sheen.
Eliza and Jessica got the uniform on. Yes, exactly. Yes. That was a great remake. House of Wax also had the tank, but that was 2 years later. But they were basically copying these movies. Exactly. Yeah. Alicia Cuthbert, I believe, donned the uniform. But we also had
as did Chad Michael Murray.
And then he takes it off. It takes off the shirt, which I mean, that was like, you know, we've talked about Chad, you and I, on the Dawson's episode.
I mean, I wasn't pissed. He
you know, had it. You know,
still probably I wanted him to be comfortable. I wanted him to be comfortable. So
I mean, it's hot down south in these locations and these locales.
About to be covered in wax. So
I mean, he's only helping the killer.
Yes.
But also we had a movie that we loved. Jeepers Creepers 2 was summer 2003. And I can't believe I didn't catch this until earlier today. And I'm really thinking, is there a way I can fit it in? But I don't think I can this year.
Oh, no.
But we also had Cabin Fever. I know.
This was Ash and I were talking about how this was really the start, and Wrong Turn was it was definitely the start of Final Girl, long hair. I keep hitting my stupid pop screen. Final Girl, long brown hair, the tank top. We had this definitely, but like we really started to get into, because I was saying, you know, I love the new Wrong Turn. I was like, I didn't see the new Wrong Turn, but I actually saw it. I hear it's really kind of
It's actually pretty good. It's much it's much less, it's actually less to no mountain men, and it's more woodsy cult, like village of cult people. So I actually say check it out. It's by the same writer, but it's different. I can't really remember a lot of it, so I don't know what that means. But check it out. Yeah, but continue.
But the acting style in that, it was very it was far more like what you see in like Hereditary, very naturalistic and yet very heightened. And I love it all. I love Eliza. I love everybody in this movie too. But this was really the turn that we took into where stuff started to get, first it got really gory, but still irreverent.
Yeah.
And then we hit, you know, your Hereditaries and we start to get in. But this totally opens up. Like this was the last movie that wasn't as gory, really, until we totally went over into Saw, Hostel.
Oh yeah, the torture porn
was disgusting. Yeah.
Like, there was some gruesome stuff for sure in House of Wax. Yeah, this movie
Wolf Creek.
Oh, Wolf Creek. Love it. And so intense. Oh my God. That was an intense movie. But yeah, you're right. This is gory and gross, but it's so fun. It's like, and we'll get into it. Like some of these deaths are
as much as like Harry Elwes and so.
And like, totally. And you know what it is? It's kind of the lack of too many gross sound effects in this one. Like it's still kind of fun. But apparently this movie did, and maybe this is why, you know, we're talking about this. The MPAA was very hard on this movie. So I guess it was really hard to get an R rating. And apparently some of the commercials and trailers even on TV were like pulled. So there was a lot of pressure on this movie to not be, maybe they were going for even more gore. So it kind of comes off a little, that's so obviously like a body with like, you know, red stuff on it, you know, but it works really well. You know,
that's fascinating. That's really, really interesting.
I thought that was interesting.
They had wanted, and it makes sense. It feels like it. I was like, why wouldn't we would either do less and make this PG-13, but clearly it felt like the director's sensibility was to make it more of a hard R, and that's fascinating that the MPAA, I'm like, just wait a couple of years, fellas, this is tame.
Right. And you know, they could have been inspired by The Ring, which came out really just like 6 months earlier, because that we were talking about Swim Fan. I guess in the chronology of the films and shows that you and I have talked about, Swim Fan was the last one on the timeline, right? But The Ring came out right after that, and that was, obviously we know, insanely terrifying.
Yes.
Not really gory, but there was some gross visuals, and
there
that was
were
all
some.
PG-13. So I
Brian
wouldn't be surprised if they
Cox.
were like,
Love Brian
oh,
Cox.
love Brian
Samara's
Cox.
dad
I know.
is so
Oh
good.
my gosh.
He's so good in
wait,
everything.
what does he shout? I was not supposed to have a child or something
Yeah,
like that. Right?
yes, it was. I wasn't supposed to have a child.
He like really barks. He's so
She's
good.
not a normal child. She's not. She wasn't. And he's like grabbing the toaster.
Yes. Oh, the toaster. Oh my God.
Toaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
But God. So I could have seen, a different studio would probably want to push Wrong Turn to be PG-13 after that success. We'll be right back. I have to tell you, Kit, this was the first time I rewatched it in years. It's been years and years. I remembered so much of it so well, maybe because it's only an hour and 24 minutes, which, no shade. I mean, there's not much else to say, so let's just keep it tight.
A 90-minute,
right?
An 84.
An 84 minute.
I love it.
I mean, hey, it works. And I remembered I at least remembered all the big set pieces, which we're about to get into. I forgot some of the gory parts where it did make my jaw drop and like a fun, like, wow, okay, we're going there.
On a weekend getaway.
I just found this tied to a tree back there. Somebody did this.
One wrong turn.
Hello? We're looking for a phone.
Made 4 friends trespassers on deadly ground. There's terror around every turn. Wrong turn.
We're all gonna die.
This movie is so much fun. And I don't know do you think it's aged well, or do you feel like it's a little dated? I mean, seeing the old Nokia phone and hearing that, we've talked about music of this era. Every thriller or horror film had like fucking awful rock.
The worst music.
The worst. And, like whiny rock. Ugh.
Just like so mad.
Yeah.
And then it was like also like really intense drums at all times. I'm like, be a thing. Don't be whiny. Don't be like, choose to be hardcore or do not.
And speaking of whiny yet hardcore music, I was looking at the music charts, and Evanescence was popular at this time. So it all makes sense. Exactly.
Yes.
That was, a big deal at this time. So it makes sense. But yeah, do you think in general, has this movie aged well from what you rewatched, or is it a little wonky?
For one, I was struck by how little I remembered this movie.
Oh, really?
And I have a crazy good memory, which is why I was like, I literally thought for a second, I was like, am I watching Wrong Turn too? I was like, where is Eliza Dushku?
I know, it takes a little while to get to her.
Who is this guy?
Right.
And then when he ran into like the old guy he's basically the main character to me.
Yeah.
The old man with the fabulous teeth.
Oh my God, that teeth! Come on, guys.
They're real. Right?
Oh,
I hope.
No, that is some crazy mouthpiece. I'm like,
if he had those teeth, he would need the work. So
they were like hanging down here. It was so obvious that it was like something the guy put on. They were like this. I'm like, okay, we got it, right?
He has to be able to take them off quickly to eat some Cheetos at Crafty.
Yes.
And then just
in between takes. Yes. Oh my gosh.
So I was like, okay. But then I was still not totally convinced that it wasn't a sequel, because I was like, well, but maybe they run into this guy again. And then when he takes the wrong turn, I was like, no. We're going to meet Dushku now. And then the douche was loose and it was awesome.
Douche was loose.
And I remembered everything after that.
Yes. Well, it is. You're so right. It's funny that maybe because Eliza Dushku, and I'll get into everyone's kind of like where they were in their careers in a second, but I think because maybe in our Buffy loving worlds, like Dushku was such a star, and
they got Faith.
We had Faith, and and Buffy had just come to an end, as did Dawson's Creek. I forgot they ended at the same time. What a moment in our lives, Kit.
And 9/11 was only a few years before that. I'm sorry.
It was a wacky time. But can you believe they were a week apart? I think Dawson's ended. Jen Lindley died. Spoiler alert. Yes. Sorry. May 14th, and then Buffy. In that final episode which Eliza Dushku Faith was part of. I haven't watched that episode in years. I am shocked. Because we got a 2-hour Dawson's finale, but I am still to this day, 20 years later, shocked we did not get a 2-hour Buffy finale. That just felt like such a no-brainer, right?
Yes.
But those UPN seasons there were some highlights, but they were
UPN. I think UPN was still finding its footing and wasn't really sure how to do. But I still love that, and because I played softball when I was a kid too. When that voiceover, when they made, and she was like, every girl who has the power to be a slayer, and it's the little girl and the softball, and they were like, is a slayer. I was like, yeah, I'm a slayer. Yeah. I am a slayer too.
Love it. Oh, it's actually so beautiful. It's like such an awesome,
so inspiring and amazing.
Right? But it's funny because I forgot we spend a good amount of time with Desmond Harrington, which is like one of the best names on earth. That sounds like an AI to me. Desmond Harrington. We spend so much time with him.
A handsome man named
right?
AI.
Literally. And his jaw, I mean, and again, I know guys, you probably are sick of me saying this, but I am always just shocked at actors' ages because obviously we were young. We were 15 maybe when we saw this. And we saw this together in theaters opening weekend, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
We were not going to let an Eliza Dushku movie pass.
I was trying to remember, Kit. Did we go with anyone else? Because I only remember you. Do you know?
I only remember you too, and I think it was
so it might have just been a date.
On the left-hand side of the low
theater.
Yes.
I almost feel
or not stolen, but we had to have
bought another ticket. Right. We must have snuck in. Yeah, I wonder what we bought. Well, I'll tell you what was popular at the time in a second.
Popular?
But oh my God, so funny, Kit, that you remember. Yes, we were looking at the screen. We were on the left side of the theater, and I almost feel like we were in those kinds of seats that were just like the random two-seater. Do you know what I mean?
The two-seater where it was like you had all the open until there was a bar at the end.
Right. Yes.
I think it is for handicapped or disabled people, but no one was in the theater.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah. Oh my God, I love that you remember that too. Yes! But yeah, I am right there with you. Maybe because she also was full length on the poster, on the cover. This was such a Dushku movie. Yeah. But actually she's not, and she's not the first build, the first credited. It's all Desmond Harrington. But I mean, she's the lead, let's be honest.
She's the lead, yeah.
But let's rewind. Let's go to May 30th, 2003. I'm going to set the scene for you, Kit. Chime in with what you are thinking when I say these fun things. All right, so to jog all of our memories, this is what was popular at the time. This was the era of Sean Paul and 50 Cent, who Kit and I were just talking about offline before we started.
Yes.
50 Cent's, I think it was called 21 Problems. It was the one that, Love for Me, Girl. Do you remember that one? Does that ring a bell? It's a slower one. It was like something like that.
Yeah, no, it's girl. Yeah. It's easy to love me now.
Yes.
But would you love me when I was down and out? Would you still have love? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
We know 50 Cent.
Exactly. So that was the number one song, but Sean Paul's Get Busy. I
loved the beat of that. My little butt would always
Oh yeah. It was like the little little percussion, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So those were big. Like we said, Evanescence was big. Justin Timberlake's Rock Your Body, which I still love, was a big song at this time. So that was what was going on the music side, right? TV, we were just saying Dawson's Creek and Buffy ended. Two other major shows that had just come to an end in the month leading up to this, Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Touched by an Angel. A show I never watched, but it was a big deal back then.
I had to watch an episode of it in Mrs. Gary's social studies class.
Why?
In 8th grade. Because it was one where they put it must have been a racist woman. They put a racist white woman into a black woman's body, which is very reductive now, but at the time it actually was. And I remember Miss Gary pointing out, and I was like, holy shit. She pointed out what a microaggression was. She was because literally the girl comes in and tries to get a beer, and they're very macro aggressive, we don't serve your kind here. And she's like, ugh. And so she leaves. And then the angels come in trying to find this girl, and they were like, did a young woman just come in here? And he was like, no, he didn't even consider her a young woman. He was like, if you had said, did a black girl come in, he would have gotten it. But he was like, no ladies came in here. Just no. And I was like, holy shit. That was my Touched by an Angel experience.
Wow.
It was pretty touching, honestly.
That's a good memory associated with that. I love that. You really learned something. Oh, I love that.
I really did. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it came to an end at this time, so poor kid had no more lessons to learn.
No Buffy, no Dawson, no Touched by an Angel.
So that was what was going on the TV side. Lots of big series finales on the movie side. So I'm going to list all the popular movies that were in the top 10.
yes.
The day this came out, the weekend this came out. So, and then we'll have to figure out, Kit, as I rattle these off, you let me know what you think we bought to sneak in, because I really am not sure. Okay, Finding Nemo and The Italian Job came out this same day as Wrong Turn, so those were massive. Other movies that were popular, Bruce Almighty, The Matrix Reloaded, Daddy Daycare with Eddie Murphy, X-Men 2, X2, X-Men United, I think was the full. I love that one. That's a great sequel. Down with Love. Remember that one with Ewan McGregor and Renee Zellweger? Do you remember that? It was very like 60s. I remember the name. Yeah, that was like a little bit of a thing. They looked so cute. British?
Was she British in it or no?
Oh, that's a good question. Was she? She might have been. I know Sarah Paulson was in it. That was the first time I think I saw her in something bigger.
She's so good.
But like really cute cast. And last but not least, the Lizzie McGuire movie, which I would secretly love if we bought tickets for that. And then we're like, we're just going to walk a little further down to Wrong Turn.
Down to Wrong Turn. I
don't know.
I would say the first two were either Finding Nemo or The Italian Job, I would say.
You think? Yeah.
I also think we saw maybe not together. I definitely saw The Italian Job in theaters. I could have seen it with my biological dad. But
I did not. I still to this day have never seen The Italian Job. And it looks so good. I don't know why I missed it.
Cute cars.
Cute cars. Charlize and I think Mark Wahlberg, Seth Green. Yeah, big cast, I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, those were the popular movies at this time. But in comes Wrong Turn, who sadly, or I shouldn't say who, but which sadly, you know, what's funny about this movie, talking about it 20 years later, I feel like it's hard because for us, we were and are horror lovers. So this was on my radar. I loved it. And it was part of my pop culture horror brain, right?
Yeah.
But it came in at like number 6.
Ooh.
Opening weekend. Yeah, it came in at number 6. It only ended up making 25 million, which Greg and I were looking up what that was back then in 2003. So that was close to like 40 million today. So definitely.
What was its budget?
The budget was around 10 to 15 million. So
they wanted more. They definitely wanted more. For a horror film, you want the return to be bigger.
Yeah, it was at least 10 million because I even looked up an old Variety article announcing this movie, and I think the title was something like "This Wrong Turn is right for these filmmakers" or something like that.
Yeah,
something wrong and right.
Bullshit. Yeah.
And it was like 2 years prior.
Right, it's a movie. Whatever.
Yeah, I just was sort of surprised that actually it was not as financially amazing as you would think for a franchise that spawned a million sequels. Now, granted, those sequels were all direct to VHS, direct to DVD, I guess, by this point. Direct to the Sci-Fi Channel.
VOD, exactly.
VOD, right? But, like, you would still think that the first one would be a splash to create all those. But I guess it just made enough where, obviously, it was, you know. But I don't know. Seeing those numbers, I thought, wait. Wrong Turn, like everyone knows Wrong Turn. Everyone, like when you see your collage of like horror movies, like Eliza's face is in there over the years at least, you know. Obviously it's a lower tier horror movie. Of course, they're far better, we know. But at least like
it's still part
in our
of the
lifetime.
Horror tapestry.
Yeah.
It's part of that. And it really, again, I think it was right at a turning point of us getting into extreme gore.
Yes.
And we still, it's Ash was saying, he was like, you know, no movie today. Every movie's slightly, you're either super serious or you're super ironic. Like there's no, he was like, Jurassic Park wasn't ironic, but it wasn't totally serious. He was like, and I was like, no, the acting, and that was great. He was like, I'm telling you, I would have reacted with more terror upon seeing a T-Rex, but it wasn't the movie for that. It was, you needed a little bit less to keep it fun, to keep it. And I think Wrong Turn it's like right in the middle of that time.
That's a really, you know, it's funny because I feel like you guys are so right. Nowadays, it's either so like starkly serious to the point where it's like, can I have a little bit of fun? Or it's an all-out like horror. Yeah, it's The Whale, or it's like the most brutal horror film ever, or like you are here to be punished, or you're here to not be scared at all if it's like a horror comedy, and it's really just a comedy with like some blood. Because even some of these horror comedies that are streaming or whatever are still kind of violent, or it's like, whoa, that was like a beheading or whatever, right? But it's funny talking about reactions because I feel like, and I mean, Kit is a professional actress, everyone. So you tell me, Kit.
Yes.
Rewatching this, I actually thought a good amount of the acting I thought was pretty good, but maybe I had my nostalgia goggles on, but like Emmanuelle Shrieky, I believe is her name, who plays Carly, I actually feel like Yeah, she was crying and she was like going through it, and I was like with her. Whereas some actors, and I love my Eliza, but sometimes she's a little. I know she was tough and she's like single, and she's like this. Right. But there are moments where she's like unfazed, like when she's seeing some friends die. She's like when Jeremy Sisto gets like, I do love his death with like, you're not sure exactly what's happening, and they're like, come on, come on. Eliza's just sitting there, and I'm like, I get the feeling Eliza was like really tired. She was up all night. She's just like, come on, and like when his body falls down, so like some of the acting could have been stronger, but I don't know. Overall, I think everyone's doing a good job in this movie. What do you think? Maybe not?
I felt, okay, so preface with like, I love everyone, and everyone is a product of the exact time. Everyone's acting was a product of the exact time and the exact scenario and everything that's happening.
Good point.
And it clearly worked at the time to the extent and everything. But I was a little surprised at how bad the acting was at first. I was like, I remember this being scary. Like when I opened with the joke about like, why are you pissed? You should be horrified. Right. Or if you're going to be pissed, then go with pissed. And you're like, who the fuck is doing this shit? No, it's little shithead vandals. We have to fucking find these kids or fuck these kids, whatever. But like, it was like, someone did this and we need to find out what's happening. Yeah. And I was like, and then I thought the people who were offered up, the couple who were essentially offered up as sacrifices in the beginning were fine. They were great. Yeah. They played it well and normal.
The rock climbers. Yeah.
Oh no. The rock climbers. They were great too.
They were great. Yeah. I mean, not really.
Yeah, I mean they were fine.
I do at least love that his blood is like getting on her face. I do love that.
I do love that, and I love the pull, the sudden pull, and that became like a not trope so much as like that became a touchstone of the sequels. Is like getting caught and even pulled in that.
Absolutely, you're so right. The pull effect kind of was then because maybe of Wrong Turn, or I'm sure something even before it from the 70s, because this is very 70s. But at least Wrong Turn, at the very least, reignited that like pulling of usually the girl in like the desert or in the woods, like the mountain men, the hills have eyes. Totally, you're so right. Yes. That was like such a vibe for the next few years, right?
Yes, yes. Well,
but no, you're talking about like Kevin Zegers, who are Evan and Francine, which I'm like, Francine. That was an interesting name to give to a modern, I don't know, we don't really know their ages, but college. Or early.
I think they said there are some college students who the mountain climbers. They were
mountain climbers, yes.
College students went missing. Like, I have written down, Jeremy Sisto, how old actually are you supposed to be? Like, what age are you playing? But but we'll get to that. I just want to say, Emmanuel, I actually thought at the very beginning, the regular day life vicissitudes of life, I didn't think she had. I thought she had a hard time. I thought she was stilted and a little acty. Yeah. But and I do think, I'm like, I could coach her performance, because I also think when she hit the emotions, I think there were times when it was just pure emotion. She was really touching on just her abject sadness. And I'm like, but there's external obstacle too, where you push down on it and for a minute it cracks, but then no, you got to push down and blah, blah, blah. But that being said, she did the prep. She knew like her circumstances, and that was all bubbling in her. And I was like, okay, I definitely feel her love. Like I felt the shit out of that. Yeah, and Jeremy Sisto is great all the time. He's great. Never delivered a dull performance. He's great all the time. Older than all of them.
He does seem older,
and his fault.
I did look up ages. Eliza was only like 21, 22, which is crazy. She's
the thing is, they were kids. They were all like children, and Jeremy's sister was like, I'm 28.
Yeah, he literally, I think I saw like 27, 28. Desmond was like 25, which, again, like that's what I was saying. I know you guys are like, Mark always thinks this, but like, I'm like, that guy was 25? I feel like I still looked like a teenager at 25. Desmond's like ready to... Rugged. I don't know. Yeah. And then Emmanuel Shrieky was around like 23, 24. So yeah. Jeremy was definitely the oldest. But fun fact about Jeremy. I don't know if you've heard, but Freddie Prinze Jr. has a fun horror movie podcast now called That Was Pretty Scary. It takes a little bit to get used to his voice. He's very much like a California bro, but love him. Totally fine. But in the very first episode of the pod, he talks about being in I Know What You Did Last Summer, of course. Yes. And he said he was not the first choice for I Know, and it made for a very awkward shoot with the director. Apparently, and we've talked about I Know, of course.
Yes.
But like apparently everyone else had a great time with that director. Freddie Prinze Jr. Listen to it, Kit. You'll find it so interesting. He had such a hard time working with the director because
That's
the first choice
man.
that the director wanted was Jeremy Sisto.
Ah!
But Kevin Williamson and the studio liked Freddie Prinze Jr. for his more, he looks just more like someone you want to root for, whereas Jeremy could be a little...
You could believe that he really, like I didn't even really believe when I first saw I Know What You Did Last Summer, where for a hot second, Jennifer Love Hewitt thinks that maybe, oh my God, maybe my boyfriend is actually the killer. I was like, girl, he's not. You can calm
he's
down.
Too nice.
He's definitely not.
He's just bored and busy.
Yeah.
Right.
But Jeremy Sisto, you'd be like, oh, hang on.
Yeah, he's got that in him. Yeah, but Elton.
Sweetheart, baby, seriously, this isn't funny.
He was in Girls, or not Girls, 13.
He was
is
13. That's so, yes, he was in 13.
Same year.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Same year. And then
no bra,
6 feet
no
under,
panties.
No bra, no panties. I was saying to Ash, I was like, and that was how I learned that chickens can do that thing when he goes, Zen chicken.
Oh,
he's holding the chicken and he moves it and the chicken's head doesn't move.
Yes. Oh my God, you're so right.
My first memory
of
Jeremy Sisto is him saying Zen chicken to Evan
Zen
Rachel Wood.
chicken. Yes. And he also was in that movie. I still have not seen it, but I know some horror fans love the movie May. Did you ever see May?
Yes, I have seen May.
He was in that like a year before this.
Finished it. I saw it when it was on TV, and he was in it, and it's awesome. Anna Faris is in it. It's I need to watch it front to back because it's campy and weird and
great. I need to check it out. It's fun to see this cast had some good, like Desmond was in Ghost Ship the year before. Ghost Ship.
Oh my God, he was?
With Juliana Margulies. We know Eliza, of course, was in Buffy and Angel and all. She, she was our girl. Plus, she was in that not good movie Soul Survivors. Do you remember that?
Oh yes, I do. I remember seeing the VHS cover of that at the Uptown VHS rental store.
Yes,
being Soul Survivors.
Yeah, I remember the poster was intriguing, but the movie not so much. And then
was Jack from was he in it? Jack from Dawson's Creek? Or no, I'm still just thinking of
I think you're
Final
thinking
Destination.
Yes, he was in Final, same kind of poster. But you might be thinking of the guy, Wes Bentley from American Beauty.
I am exactly.
And I
think
Casey Affleck, a future Oscar winner, was in Soul Survivors. Yeah, I think so, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the only person who didn't do horror, from what I could see, was Emmanuelle. She did horror in the sense that she was in that movie with Lance Bass and Joey Fatone, On the Line. Remember that?
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So,
what an existential dread piece.
Yes.
Definitely horror.
But Jeremy is so funny and so charming and so I felt kind of sad seeing him die. Like, he
feels fully realized as a person, and you
right.
really, and with when she gives him, which by the way, I'm pretty sure it's a continuity error with his little
sunflower necklace.
It is, right?
I
see it for a second when he talks about eloping, and she's like, "Don't say the E word to me." Yeah. And Ash was like, "Does she not want to get married?" I was like, "No, she just wants a party. I'm pretty sure." I think she really loves him.
Confused too.
Yeah, he was like, "Is she like saying like, don't you ever?" As a matter of fact, I'm leaving. This is. I'm gonna walk ahead. I'm seeing Eliza. This is messed up. But no, I think she was saying I want a big party with my family and stuff. Don't you talk to me about low rent elopements. But then a second later she gives him the flower, and I was like, wait just a goddamn minute.
Yeah.
He had that flower on a second ago, and then he has the flower the rest of the time.
And it goes well with his, like we said, the pastel button-down shirts that the guys are wearing. So
every guy was ready to go to the Morristown Field Club and have a nice brunch with their grandma.
Yes.
So
and then every girl was ready to throw it down with some mountain men, which, by the way, I do love. After our opening couple, the rock climbers die, I do love how on the nose and how the producers are just like, we're just going to tell you exactly what to expect right away. The opening credits, what do we see all these, newspaper clippings, and it's this great montage, beautifully edited, beautifully shot, but it's things like mountain men, West Virginia, genetic mutation, inbreeding. It's like, okay, they want you to know very quickly.
To pain.
Yes,
I was like, I literally wrote, I miss where opening credits just straight up told you the movie. They were like, this is what's happening.
Love it.
And I watched like a retrospective where it was like a guy online. Yeah, I was trying to like get my knowledge in on like any fun factoids, and it was this guy who was doing like rundown of the whole like timeline from Wrong Turn to the sequels and prequels,
Oh,
etc.
wow. Yeah, they're prequels apparently.
Yeah. And that was one of the things he said in like the second or third one. He's like, this is where we learn that they're inbred, and that and then the fourth one, he's like, this is where we learn that the inbreeding like caused them to not feel pain. I was like, I have a whole notepad filled with shit. You can't see it in the camera. I have a notepad covered in notes about how they can't feel pain, something to do with the nuclear thing, definitely inbreeding. And then they showed a bunch of pictures of people with scoliosis. Like they told us everything.
Yes, you're right. The scoliosis, like some of these pictures, I'm like, I don't know if that would fly nowadays. Like,
they said they based all of the people, and this is one of the things I learned, all of the people who did the prosthetics and stuff based it off of, first they like came up with, they went to real medical textbooks and were like, what genetically happens to you with inbreeding? And then they used a computer program to like design the features to make them look as much, and do a little bit here and there to make, but it's all, and even like the deformities of the fingers are like one of the things that can happen with inbreeding. So all of the prosthetics were based on actual distorted versions of what can happen with real inbreeding. What the royal family is basically looking like. What they would look like.
See,
if they didn't get a little bit of cute new stock.
That's the real Wrong Turn. I want to see a Wrong Turn sequel where it's actually a bunch of rich white people in the woods. Yes. Right?
That's called the Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So true.
Rich people.
Going back to Lazaro.
Lazaro! We love you. We talked about you earlier, Mr. Lazaro.
We talked about you. I don't know if you're listening. I hope you are. That'd be great. Hi.
That'd be so great. Hi, Mr. Lazaro.
Hi. But no, I'm so glad you're bringing up the makeup, because I feel like we have to talk about Stan Winston, the great Stan Winston. I had no idea until today. Me
too.
I had no idea he was involved in this, not only as the special effects makeup, designer, but also he produced this. His name was in the announcement that they were making this movie. Very interesting.
He even said, like, I saw him in the retrospective, and he was I want I feel like I have built a relationship with the audience and with people who watch movies, with moviegoers, where if they see my name, I want them to know that it's going to be a quality product. So he's like, I only do things that I'm really passionate on, and I'm really passionate about shit like this. He's like, if it's fantasy, horror, or sci-fi, I am passionate about it. I want to do it.
Love it. That's
Academy
amazing.
Award winner.
Yeah, I love it. And it makes total sense, of course, because especially by this time, he had already won a bunch of Oscars. Everybody, these are just some of the movies he worked on. When you go to this guy's IMDb or Wiki, I mean, it's just scrolling of all these titles. But he worked on the Terminator films, the early ones at least. The first 3 Jurassic Park films. He won the Oscar, I think, for Jurassic Park.
He won for Aliens.
The sequel. He worked on The Thing. He worked on the first 2 Predator films. He worked on Edward Scissorhands. I mean, some of these movies I've talked about on the show, they are iconic. So it's kind of crazy that this movie, Wrong Turn, basically a guilty pleasure, right?
Yes,
is produced and worked on by this mega talented Hollywood legend,
icon. Wild. The industry. And also it's why it spawned a bunch. Like they are horrifying. And then also those actors, they keep talking about Julian. Julian is 3 fingers, I think.
Yes, 3. Yeah, there's 3 fingers. There's so 2 something. But Kate,
saw
do you
teeth
realize?
And, like, 1 eye.
Yeah, saw teeth and 1 eye. The names are freaky. And Julian Richings steals the movie for me. I remember seeing this with you, and I was freaking out over him. He's the skinny one. The laughter is so spooky. Oh my God.
It sounds like a hyena or a coyote, and pack animals that laugh when they feed. Oh my God. Which I bet you is on purpose. He's so good.
Oh, yeah, he's so good. A British actor who still works a ton. But how fun is this? Just a few years earlier, and actually 5 years earlier, because in September it'll have a special anniversary, and I might talk about it. Urban Legend. He's an urban legend, if you remember, as the creepy, like, college janitor. He's not in it a lot, but he's super spooky. And there's even a moment towards the end where we think he might be the killer. I think he, like, picks up the lead in the car, but then the flashing lights. So I'm like, oh my God, what a perfect double whammy in horror.
I
to
had
be
no idea. I
Urban
love Urban Legend. I
and
love that
Wrong
series.
Turn.
And oh my God, yes.
Yes. So like, I just thought that was such a fun little fun fact, but he is terrifying. To me, the scariest moment, every moment that he's in, I'm freaking out. Even to this day, I'm like, ooh, because he's so skinny. The other two are big and burly and they kind of look alike, but you know, we're kind of, and big and burly is scary, but we're kind of used to that with Leatherface and a lot of these movies. But to see the spindly, skinny, skeletal guy, he is truly skeletal. And the actor himself in real life is insanely thin, right?
Yeah.
It's like when I saw that Great Hills Have Eyes remake. Hated the remake of the sequel, but I did love the remake of the original. One. It is brutal and terrifying.
Piper Perabo?
No, you're thinking there's Vanessa Shaw from Hocus
Shaw.
Pocus.
That's
She's fantastic.
Vanessa Shaw and Piper Perabo I sometimes confuse because they look
very similar.
I know they both listen. I love you both. It's not that. I just am a big fan of both of your work. Yeah.
But there's an actor playing one of the mutated people who is like a legit actor, does tons of roles not in scary makeup, much like Julian Richings. So it's always so cool to me when I see some of these, you know, quote unquote real actors, you know, doing these scary, killer, freaky prosthetics roles, you know? I think
love
it's so cool. Now, Kit, tell me why do you love this movie, even if it's, you know, a guilty pleasure love? What are some scenes? What are some like things that as you were rewatching, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing, or this is funny, or whatever? Tell me what you think.
It is. I mean, so much of this is wrapped up in Eliza Dushku and just the vibe. Like, just she was so. It's that image on the picture of her being like final girl fighting that I was very attracted to all of those.
Yes.
I even wrote down because she was a brunette, but if you look like closely, she has like these honey highlights all over.
That too. Yeah.
When I woke up from the jaw surgery months later, my mom had written on the board like things to cheer me up, and she wrote like highlights. I was gonna get highlights, and then she wrote belly button piercing. These were all things that I've been like, I want to get these. She's like, no, not till you're older. And even that, a testament to how much fucking pain jaw surgery is. I was like.
Right.
But I did get those Dushku highlights when my jaw was still wired, but I got the Dushku.
Yes. The Dushku honey highlights, they work well. Very subtle.
Yes. Very subtle, but very, not now. Now that I look upon it, I'm like, oh, damn. We were like blonde. Why were we brunettes with these honey highlights? That head dropping scene.
Oh,
arrow was so good. The head was.
Oh my gosh!
There are some really fun kills in this.
Oh, really fun kills. Absolutely.
Yes. And I think even there's so many things in. Yeah, Cape Fearing. I wrote he pulls a hot Cape Fear. There's when he pulls himself up on. I was like, okay.
You're so right. I love
and this is, and Ash has also pointed out, and this is true, and it bears. If you want to watch, this is so much like The Last Victim, except The Last Victim is like more serious. I still haven't seen it.
I'm sorry, it's on my list. I'm watching. Everyone has to watch The Last Victim on Hulu.
The Last Victim on Hulu. Plug. It's a great. It's like this, but not with inbred mountain people, but it's a little bit more of a serious vibe. But there's so much of like the woman fighting and having to figure out like different things in different ways. And it's Ali Larder. She's a scream queen. Love her. But I really think what I love so much about this, I think that this one, more than any of the ones we've done before, is so much because like I can still really get into I Know What You Did Last Summer as a horror film. I don't know how much I'm gonna rewatch Wrong Turn again, but I still love it. Like it represents so much that time of our lives. Like
totally.
Of course we snuck in to see this one. Of course we were so cool, like sitting alone and I like quiet air. Like it felt we learned to drive like a year after this. So it felt so of the moment of our youth and of that time that I just remember. I just have so many fond memories of it to the point where I like didn't realize it was the same movie for the first 20 minutes. I was like, wait, but Eliza's not there, so this isn't Wrong Turn yet.
Right.
Oh, now it's Wrong Turn. Okay.
Yeah, that's such a great way to put it. It's kind of like the thing where you know you're gonna have a great time with it, but maybe because of the runtime, maybe because we get right into it. There's not which in a good way. I do not complain. I love how we just get into it and like it's kind of all set really during kind of like a 24-hour span when you think about it. There's just one night. Love it. You know, it's scrappy. And maybe because of that, we know it's a good time. It might not be a great movie, but it's a good time. And yeah, you don't need to see it all that often because it's that kind of thing where you know it's going to be a good time. So eventually you'll get to it again. But it's those other movies where like you want to kind of pick them apart. You want to look at the little details. This, you know, you don't really need to look at the details because the opening credits give you all the details.
They give you all the details. This is
right?
and this is not at all an insult. This is a compliment. But I have a lot of movies that fall into the folding laundry category. Where I'm like, if this was on, if I was like, and this started from when we had cable and when I was a kid in my parents' house. But like, if you were about to fold laundry, I'd flip through the channels until I found a movie that was halfway through and I liked. And if Wrong Turn was playing, it would absolutely have been Wrong Turn.
Oh,
like it was
my
like
God,
Carrie
yes.
to the Rage could have definitely gone on.
Yep.
Jeepers Creepers 2, absolutely. Pop that on.
Oh,
Minxie.
yeah. Oh, my God, Minxie.
Oh God, Scott, Scott, we have to go now. Yes, Jesse.
Jess.
Hey,
Whoa.
guys, what is it?
Get back to your friend.
What about a phone?
There is no phone. Shit.
There's a back door. I saw a back door. Come on. Go.
Go. Okay, hurry. Shit, no.
Let's talk about the set pieces because I do love when they just drop Francine's dead body and we have Eliza and Desmond Harrington under the bed. The friends are in this cabin,
And the blood
you know, and the blood is gonna touch it, you know, like that's a good set piece. But like, you know, Francine and that actress.
The whole trees.
Oh, the trees, yes. But that actress, I think her name is Lindy Booth, and no shade. I mean this in no disrespect. But like, she's a good victim. She's meant to kind of be a victim in a movie like this, right?
Yes.
But the other four have something, to me, those actors, where it's like, you know, there's just something about Eliza and Jeremy Sisto where it's like, yeah, okay, I barely know you. We spend very little time with actually Eliza. We spend more time with Jeremy Sisto and Emmanuel talking about their wedding. They have some jokes. Emmanuel gives a great line, which I'm going to read to you right now. I wrote out, just get me to a motel room, run me a very hot bath, and be prepared to provide me with a lot of orgasms.
A lot of orgasms. Yes.
And I'm like, I understand you. I know who you are. I'm rooting for you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Eliza, we just kind of find out like later that like, yeah, her boyfriend just recently dumped her, you know, but again, I don't know what it is. I just feel for these people. There's something about them that like, okay, yeah, I actually kind of want some of you to succeed, you know?
Yeah. None of them are like the shitty kid.
Right.
I mean, it is stupid to like knock on someone's door and go into their house, but none of them are like, let's have a look around. Let's eat their food.
I don't think you and I... you and I would not have done that. It was really all
we have
Chris.
respect for other people's homes.
Right. And also, like Jessie, Eliza, which also we didn't find her name out until like the last third of the movie. But like Jessie, you and I would be looking around at like all the like junk in the yard and like some stuff has like written letters on it and like it's like something's
there was
up.
like a Christian thing too. There was I'm like, you don't need a cross in the middle of the woods. It's never the kind of Christians you want to encounter.
Right.
It's never someone with bread.
Right.
Like, it's a murderer.
Yeah. And like Chris just needs to get to that phone because he's got to get to that 7 p.m. interview in Raleigh. I'm like, what's the interview for? No one ever asked.
People kept saying, one of the like people on YouTube was like his business interview. And I was like, but he said he was a doctor. So I assumed it was like a doctor interview. But then again, like you usually get like placements with it. Like you don't interview like that.
Right. True.
I don't think.
True. Yeah.
I'm
and
not
like,
a doctor. I don't know.
Are you interviewing with like the night shift like supervisor at the hospital
who
or
is
something? Like
doing
7
this?
p.m.
7 p.m.
But yeah, he really wants the phone, and Emmanuel's really got to pee, and they're like, all right, well, let's just go in this
You're
this
surrounded
cabin.
by woods.
I know.
Way.
I thought for sure
Much
her
rather
fiance
just
was
be
going to be like, honey, go right there, right?
Are you
but
kidding?
she wants to use a dirty toilet. Okay.
Like, absolutely not.
Right? I'd be like, no, yeah, there is no way I'd pee in there. I'd just gladly pee
I'm not going
elsewhere.
to come in someone's home and start taking my clothing off, too. Like, I'd rather do that in the woods.
Even Jeremy
me,
Sisto's character, I forget his name, Scott, maybe? He even says, she's like, I'm looking for the bathroom. He's like, honey, I think this is the bathroom because it's also perfectly
horrible.
gross and nasty and bloody and everything in there. But that is a whole great set piece, you know, that whole thing where then they're chopping up Francine's body and everyone's, you know, there are some cool shots. Did you catch the like cool shot through the peephole, you know? It was like very CGI of Emmanuel's eye.
They
Carly.
raise oh my god.
So that's fun.
And the one where they chopped her head, I heard that was a really big thing. And they even had, and they showed it, and it was cool. But I agree with them. There was one where they did it, and the actor, Emmanuel, her eyes flickered down as it panned. And some people, it got mixed reactions in like the things, because some people were like, some people were like, it looks like she's alive, and and other people were like, no, it looks like she's dying, and how the thing where your eyes will still blink even
your
after.
brain is still slowly trying to figure it out. Yes.
Yeah. So
that is my favorite death
back and
of the
done
movie.
a little extra. I wish they would have been like, that was awesome, that instinct you had. Let's do it like a little bit. Like,
let's linger on that. Yeah, a little more for sure. Yeah,
that was my favorite death, and I was terrified for her when she's standing on the tree and you see him come up, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is bad news." She's so nice.
Well, okay, I love what leads to the trees thing. Which, like, honestly, Kit, I still 20 years later, give me a Halloween Horror Nights house, but have it set in the trees of Wrong Turn, where you're walking on the branches. I would be freaking out.
Imply balance beam to us.
To me, like that is probably the most iconic moment of the movie, because also you just don't see actors in, obviously it's a stage, right? I mean, you can kind of tell the lighting is so perfect. You're like, yes, but like I kind of love that
it wasn't a night shoot though. Can you imagine all these exhausted actors like falling
oh my god
space?
Oh my god, yeah. But like, you know, I kind of love that we're just jumping from this burning watchtower, you know, and now we're in the trees. And that, like what I was saying with Three Finger, with the skinny one, when he is right there, he jumps right in front of Eliza and he does that like kissy sucky thing, like that sent a chill down my spine when I was seeing it with you. That was freaky. But yes, Emmanuel's death in that whole sequence is by far my favorite. My number 2, I would say, would be Jeremy Sisto's, just because it is sad, but it's also
sad and
we kind of know what's going on. It's confusing, but we kind of have a feeling, but they don't yet.
But they don't know. Yeah.
I think also any horror movie death where something's happening to the back of someone and someone else doesn't know yet, it's always really
I thought Carly's death, or was it Carly? No.
Francine. Lindy Booth, yeah.
Her death was, my God.
She definitely had it more brutal than her boyfriend. Her boyfriend just like disappeared, and then later his body just falls out of the truck. I mean, come on. Yeah. You know?
Like just dead.
And speaking of deaths, I feel like, again, this probably didn't start it. I can actually guarantee it didn't start it, but I feel like this reignited the one-line cop role where he's getting there to save the day. What people are dying? Yeah. You know, like that. I would love to play a one-line cop role one day where just kill me instantly. And
just have it be,
right? Because it always works. I mean, now it's kind of like we know exactly, okay, flashing cop car, all right, you're going to die in a second.
Yeah.
But when this was out, we didn't necessarily know that, right? And there are some good surprises. I also remember so well, once it's daytime again, in the middle of a line with Eliza and Desmond, then all of a sudden the axe just like appears and it just misses him. Do you remember that scene?
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa, you know, like there are some good jolts here.
There are a lot, and they're not like your typical jump scare of like, hey, what? Right. I was getting a soda. Like, it's like, no, like it's a jump scare that initiates, oh, fuck, we should have been scared.
You're so right. Yeah. It's not always a fake out. They're going for it. And also they don't rely on a score to be like, you know, it's just the sound of that with a little bit of music, of course, you know, but like, and then all of a sudden the guy's right there. Like there are some good shocks, I think, in this one for sure.
Yeah.
Now, would you have climbed up the watchtower?
Yes.
Okay, you would have. Okay, I'm really
Totally.
torn. I don't know if I would have.
I would have felt like they didn't know where I was. I would have
Yeah.
been really quiet. I wouldn't have gone any fucking weird near the window. And when my friend
Mm.
starts breaking off the things, I'd be like, "Are you a fucking insane person? We need to make this so quiet. Why are we wandering around having a fucking rave?" Like,
Right, I know.
So I think I would have gone up there and I would have tried to lay low, be quiet, and like
Yeah.
block it and just not make any noise at all the entire time.
Yeah, I really
But
don't know.
wasn't a great idea.
I know it didn't work out because then they're going on that radio, like an old CB radio, and somehow the mountain men way down below can hear when the person is. I'm like, would they really be able to hear that? But
Would
maybe.
they?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess if it's really that loud and it's that quiet outside at night, yeah, maybe. I guess it's realistic. But that's another shot that kind of spooked me out. I remember seeing their torches just way down below, and that's a cool
And
image.
knowing what's coming. It
Yeah.
feels like
'Cause so
a witch
often,
hunt or something.
Right? So
You're like,
often, especially a woodsy horror movie or woodsy thriller, so often is the person right there and you're like under a log or something, right?
Yes.
But here, it's that same feeling, but we're far away. We're way up high,
yes.
and you can see them and still feel that dread of like, are they going to start to come up here?
Because it instantly puts you in the position and puts them in the position, and since we're identifying with them, us in the position of being a prey animal. Like they're hunters. They're gonna smoke you out. That's like what you do to foxes or whatever. Like you are
Yes.
just being treated, or like lice. Like that's what you do to like get creatures out of things. And what are you gonna do? And I love Emmanuel is just like, well, time to die. And just
Right? Oh yeah. Which again, I guess I don't know. On this rewatch, I kind of felt for her because she's like, yeah, I wonder if I would be the same way. Like,
no, I would
just
jump
watched my
even if I
fiance
wanted to
die.
live.
Right.
I would be like, we gotta get out of here.
Right. But like, she really is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I believed her grief,
She
which
said a lot
is,
of times, I can't do this. And I was like,
Yes.
I can absolutely understand.
I could
the
totally
level of
picture
grief.
a friend saying that, like absolutely.
I said it earlier today, and it was not, while I was in a bad place, it was not this level of bad
Kit's,
place.
by the way, everyone, Kit's just having a interesting start to her birthday week, but don't worry, it's all good.
It's totally fine. I've been a hypochondriac probably. Or,
Yeah.
I
All
mean,
good.
Whatever. But yeah,
This
it's just
is
like, I want to
36.
die.
Yeah. I felt for her, but yeah, she sort of inspires them to jump to the trees, right? She's like, I'd rather, the line, I'd rather jump than burn alive, which,
burn alive.
oh my God, I think everyone would agree with that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. The script isn't great, but there are some lines that are like, yeah, absolutely.
Very realistic sentiment. Yeah. Where you're like, I can identify with that feeling.
And then another big set piece that we have to talk about that is so scary. And I think about it whenever I am near more than 2 empty cars on a field when they are running. So it's just our main 4. They're running. I forget what happens before this. What makes them run? Oh, yeah.
It was
it's
right
after
when they get out of the house, right?
Yes. They're fleeing the cabin.
Yeah.
We have that fun, tiptoeing scene. And then there's like some noise. And Chris is holding the thing, and which is smart because I would not have thought to hold that
Very
noisy coil thing, right? So the 4 friends are, 3 friends and a stranger are booking it up the hill. But these 3 mountain men are already in their creepy pickup truck, right?
They're excited and they're hooting and hollering like a bunch of
they're banging the car.
They're on the hunt. They're excited. They love it.
Yes.
Like,
yes. This movie obviously was inspired by Deliverance. There's even the line, they bring up the movie Deliverance, but I mean, which I've seen it once. I need to see that again. It's a bit of a blur for me, but I know that is terrifying.
Because I saw it for the first, I knew it and I knew what happened, but I saw it for the first time really fully, I think like last year. And it's so good.
Oh, it's so good, right? It's been a long
lives
time.
Up to the hype. Yeah.
Yes. And of course that's
Incredibly
like this, but in a much more
heartbreaking.
realistic way. This is, basically, a sci-fi
and there's
crazy,
more of like a
gnarly
statement
version.
there too on like both group. I mean, the one group is like killing and eating people, so like that really sucks. But like both groups, like they're about to be flooded in Deliverance. Like the people who live in the hills aren't they don't actively hunt tourists to eat them. It's just like, this is our house, and more people are coming, and they're going to flood the valley to like make way for some other hydroelectric thing. So there's more of a statement there, whereas this one, they get into it, I think, in the
I guess in the sequels, prequels,
but in this one, they just make a quick like, hey, in economically depressed places, people get crazy, and like they do. But
and good memory. That I did think that line was interesting. I think that was when Jeremy's sister was talking about like cults and stuff, which is
and that's
funny.
why I think they made the remake to be like, yes, this is more like a cult.
And now rewatching this, I'm like, oh, I love, because it's the same writer, Alan McElroy.
Yeah.
So I do love that he was sort of planting that little seed, which makes a lot of sense. Totally.
Yes.
Like, I think my brain would go there first than Mountain Men that are this inbred, right? But
that's in The Last Victim. They're a cult. Not like a religious cult, but they're a cult of like, this is America. This is what we do. Like,
that is terrifying.
That's in the new remake. In the remake one, they have like a little girl, because we all have little girls singing famous songs, and she's singing, I think it's America the Beautiful.
I think you're right.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm remembering now
like,
the
we're going
end.
there.
I'm not going to spoil anything, because I want you to check it out sometime. I hope it's streaming somewhere and you don't have to pay for it. Because again, I don't really remember a lot of it, but I remember it was good. And like I said, it veers off. It's not about Mountain Men. It's very similar but different. But the end, now that I'm remembering things, it's fun. It's interesting. Things awesome. Yeah. So check it out for sure. But I love that he kind of planted that seed for himself to come back, you know, almost 20 years later. But the field of cars, which I feel like the House of Wax remake kind of stole. It was instead of being outside,
Texas
right? That's the
Chainsaw had it too, which was first.
Yes,
and
that was
came
first
from the 70s, but they had it too.
Did you see the recent horror movie? They're remaking it already, which I'm like, can anything just breathe? But no. I think it is technically
they're making The Color Purple again. For God's sake.
I know, but at least I think that's going to be the musical.
And I'm excited for that, and I also like love all the people.
Yeah,
in it. So
and like they're doing Mean Girls, the musical, the movie. So at least if you're adding music, okay, sure. But just to remake it. But this movie, I feel like honestly it was mostly in English, but I guess there was some Dutch. But so they're remaking it with James McAvoy. But Speak No Evil. Did you hear about that one? It came out last year. Check it out.
No.
But there's also a moment, not a spoiler, but there's also a moment of like finding belongings of others, so that's all I'll say.
And okay, but the original one just came out like last year.
Yeah, just came out last year, and they're already remaking it. I think it's
they did that with Goodnight Mommy, and I love Naomi Watts. I just haven't seen her version yet, but I also like Goodnight Mommy. Her version came out.
Yeah, I know her version isn't bad. It's totally fine. It's not really as memorable at all as the original. I mean, the original freaked me out. I still see.
It's one of the ones I reference. Like I just reference like To Cape Fear. To Cape Fear is to pull yourself up a lot. As he does a lot of things in Cape Fear, but To Cape Fear is to pull yourself to the undercarriage. To Goodnight Mommy is whenever I'm like stuck somewhere like under a light where it's like burning into. I'm like, I'm pulling a Goodnight Mommy when I'm like driving on the freeway. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Yes. Oh, gnarly
Evil
movie.
twins,
I know.
Stop
but it is funny how Naomi is truly the queen of horror thriller remakes.
Love it.
Let me see real quick on this tangent. Speak No Evil is Dutch, Danish, and English. It might still be on Shudder. That's how I think I watched it. It's on AMC Plus, which is also basically Shudder.
Karina Smulders is in it.
Which one is she?
She is. Wait, let me find you again. She's blonde. She's a blonde woman.
Oh my God, Kit! If she is the woman I'm thinking of. Kit, she is fantastic.
I play her English voice in Women of the Night. It's a two series on Netflix.
Oh,
and she's Dutch.
My gosh.
She's Dutch.
And
she's incredible. And she opens, my reel opens with the work that I did as her because she's such a good actor that I had to step up and be a good dubber.
I need to see your reel. We have to post it, Kit. She is fantastic, and I love that you're connected to her. I love that. Of course you are.
Her American voice.
Then you have to. Then officially, like tonight, like part of your birthday week, you are watching Speak No Evil, and you're writing back to me and letting me know what you think.
And by seeing the different levels, by seeing the different detritus of all the different families, you see that like the baby doll, you're like, oh, so they're cool with killing kids. And you see like the older like thing, and you're like, okay, so they get septuagenarians. Like you realize, oh, this isn't like they just indiscriminately, they kill other people or other people die here. This is like a graveyard of souls.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, that's a good point. They realize then it's not just them and their friends. They're just
you didn't
one
piss
of
them
many.
off and you're not going to be able to talk your way out of it. Like,
Right.
this is what they do.
Yeah, and that's another good point. You're right. This movie doesn't have them pissing off any of the bad guys like some of these movies do. You know, they don't break any rules.
They don't like
really
deserve it at all.
They literally are just in the wrong place. They went down
fell
this
into
road.
a trap on purpose.
Yeah.
They purposefully catch people there.
It is a shame we don't really get a clear motive. And I know, you know, not everything needs a motive, but what would you say is their motive? They're just going after people that are on their turf?
That's my main issue, I would say, with it, is that it made even more sense in The Hills Have Eyes that it would be hard to subsist in, it would be hard to raise a family in the hills of outside like the test sites of Nevada. Like it would be, and New Mexico. Like it would, I'm like, okay, well, what are you gonna farm? What are you gonna like hunt? Some stuff, but like Appalachia is like, I mean, of course we're killing the world, so everything sucks now, but like Appalachia is one of like the most verdant, fertile places. I'm like, why didn't y'all just like grow some food and like hunt the millions of deer that are running rampant and eating like your stuff? Like you could be trapping rabbits and all of these things. So there is, I think it's supposed to be the inbreeding has made them A, territorial, which I would get, but B, like cannibal. Like they are eating people, and that doesn't really make sense because like you could very well farm there. There's no need to eat people.
Yeah.
You crazy.
And especially with inbreeding, you guys have been in this area for a long time, we can assume, you know.
Yeah, you're gonna tell me your grandparents didn't plant some crops?
Yeah,
like,
there's not like a little garden in the back, right? Something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the one. It is definitely territorial, but they on purpose have made, and then later on they make even more. But they like make traps for these people, so they're catching you like rabbits, like the barbed wire snares and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yes.
So it's very scary, but there is no reason why they're doing this and eating, except like that's what I like about, I mean, Deliverance, they're not eating them, but that is what I like about Deliverance, is that it feels like this is lashing out because you want to come into my home and destroy it, whereas these people, they're like, I hope you come into my home because I'm gonna eat you.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting. I feel like I don't know how we would have gotten a motive. They don't speak, and I think that'd be silly if they started speaking, right? So I don't know how we would have gotten that. My only thought is maybe there's like a victim previously that's still alive. Maybe the blonde girl in the beginning is like, but she didn't do anything wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, none of them did. But then I guess the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is similar in that West Texas still does feel a little bit less verdant than like Appalachia, but at the same time, that has the vibe of like, oh, you guys are like Ed Gein. Like if Ed Gein like was a go-getter and like actually killed people rather than just like plundering I mean, he killed some people, but rather than just like plundering everybody's like graves to make cereal bowls. Like if maybe they should have had more like more like shit that's like, oh, you guys like literally you think humans are the best prey, or you think this is like just something that would make us feel like, oh, you like the taste of human flesh, or you like,
yeah, Kit, you're onto something.
know?
How creepy would it have been if they walk into the cabin, and maybe not right away, they do spend again, the movie, you know, lets that moment breathe where they are investigating the full cabin before things get tense.
Yes.
What if we saw, instead of like a deer head or you know, antlers, typically humans have in these areas if they hunt, instead it's like a human torso on the wall, or a skull, like a almost like an art piece of skulls or something, or
like the couch in in Ed Gein's life, but also in Texas Chainsaw, the couch has like the weird
You're so right.
and stuff. Yeah,
oh
and then
God,
you can be like, that's an animal, right? That's an animal, right? And people are like,
maybe they thought that might have been copying Texas Chainsaw, but I don't know. There's something about having like something on the wall. I mean, it all right. It's all so similar, but I think if they added in something to show that like, oh, we are hunters, we love this kind of prey, we love our trophies, then maybe that makes it even more clear. Like, okay, we
They
understand.
love this. Yeah, this is part of life for them. Like they wouldn't want to stop killing people.
And I do love the end. And it's funny, this is one of those few movies, we don't see this too much because it's either over and then you have the credits and it's done, or it's over and then you have the credits and then you have a post-credit scene. This has like a during credits scene. There's just a few that roll, and I remember this very well because again, he's so scary. So after they've blown up the cabin, maybe not completely blown up, but it's all in flames and it's all a mess, and we think the three guys are dead, and off go Desmond and Eliza. And I like how they go back to the gas station with the guy with the crazy teeth, and Desmond just rips off the map this time. And then I like how Eliza he gets back in the car and they look at each other, and she just gives him like an approving nod, like a
which is a little
I'm like
what?
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like you'd do something different. That's very like,
or you'd be like
you did good.
Still,
right? Or also, I feel like it'd be like
pretty unfazed. I felt like she was pretty unfazed.
Pretty unfazed.
The whole time.
Exactly.
She's like, my boyfriend broke up with me. My friends are fucking dying.
Right.
Ugh.
Just get your map and get in the car,
Yeah,
right?
Good. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, she's like,
nod.
I literally wrote in my notes, you did good. Like, that's
good.
the kind of nod she gives him, like to a total stranger, like, I get it.
A-okay, champ.
You did the best you could,
It's like, you didn't talk about this guy beforehand.
They drive off, couple credits roll, but then a car comes right into camera and it's another cop. And we know what happened to the last cop.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe the smoke, the fire could be seen from afar, I'm sure, right? We don't really know why he's there other than to inspect. And he gets out of the car, and just a couple seconds later, behind him, all in creepy shadow and silhouette, is skinny one, freaky guy, three finger. And I just love this because it's just such a perfect use of a flashlight and the timing and the actor, because then the cop hears something, turns around, we're now tight on mutant man, and then the flashlight shines on him and he just does that wail and swings the axe or whatever he's got, and cut to black. That is
and
so
the laugh,
spooky.
right?
The
laugh. It laughs over here.
Yes.
Over the black. Oh.
Yeah.
And like, why? Why is he doing that? He loves it.
He wants to eat that cop. He's like,
why do people fish?
My house might be exploded. My
it.
house is a charred mess, but get the hell out of my house or I'm going to eat you.
I love the explosion too, where he like racks the shotgun to shoot the thing, which also does not happen. They did it on Mythbusters. You can't really shoot a thing to cause a bunch of other things to explode. You can't. It's statistically it's possible technically, but it is statistically so anomalous as to not really be able to happen.
Yeah.
Like you have to hit it and it has to penetrate, but also create a spark without having touched the gasoline.
There you
and
go.
Be wet. So it's like really nearly impossible. So, but he does it and they have the CG, him and Eliza below.
Yes.
I was like, just leave. You don't have to risk bodily harm from that.
And I'm realizing, they blow back, but we don't see them again until they're in the car, so they're totally fine. He's limping a little bit more than usual, maybe because he got hurt during the fall. But we don't have that shot of them like standing
came out. Also one other thing is the fire that they set in the watchtower would have eaten the entire, and they maybe should have had that setting that fire starts to encroach on them, so then you still have your final firefight. There's no way you can just isolate that to the tower. The rest of the woods will catch on fire.
That's true. The woods will. And also I would have loved to have seen, and maybe they tried, who knows, but like I would have loved to have seen the tower kind of starting to like shake or something, starting to crumble, where they have to truly jump, because the jumping is sort of like, will they or won't they, what are their options, but like what if it was there is no other option but to go out the window,
it's like falling down. You have to get out.
that would be cool, but again, maybe if there was a bigger budget or something. But one other thing to tie into how you said how it's not totally realistic for him to shoot that, I also thought, what are the odds that Jesse does know how to like perfectly shoot a bow and arrow? Because I have tried and it is really hard, at least for me.
The physical,
God.
Ash said that too. And I was like, I have shot successfully shot at a target, not like bullseye target, but like hit the target with a crossbow that it's crystals.
Oh, nice.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, she has a crossbow. She goes bow hunting. She's amazing.
Wow.
The only meat she will ever eat is meat that she is
what she. Wow.
Yep.
Cool. She's a real.
Awesome.
She's a real wrong turner.
Deal. Yeah, she's a real, which means is to say she eats people.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
is constantly blowing out people's tires.
Still cool. She's still cool.
She's very fucking cool. But it is, and that is with like one of those automated, like you crank it, and even the cranking it is like, oh god damn. So to actually like Odysseus like pull the none of them suitors could do that shit. Only like, Odysseus.
I know Eliza is tough as shit, but I'm like, what are the odds?
I need to know that you can shoot that.
And like I think all I needed,
sure, you could get it together.
I almost feel like we have two options with that. She could have found a bow and arrow earlier, maybe in the cabin or whatever, earlier at some point, and just does a practice shot. And
so
she does
we
it
see that she can do it.
Right. And she tells us like, oh yeah, my dad or my mom, whatever, my uncle took me to classes years ago, whatever, right?
I'm a really big Gina Davis fan, so I've been following competitive archery. I love Gina Davis. She listens too. Shout out Gina.
Oh, hey G. But either that or, and maybe the more fun, tense option is, so she's like getting herself out of the barbed wire that is not cutting her wrists, but okay, out of the bed. And she's reaching for those arrows. Meanwhile, as the big guy is choking Chris. And I kind of thought, wouldn't it be even better for tension is if we see her, it's a surprise that she has the bow and arrow, after it's kind of like a Jeremy Sisto moment, like, and then we see, but what if we actually see her grab the bow and arrow, grab this, and she's shaking, and we're not sure, like kind of like a Kate Winslet Titanic axe moment where it's like,
you're like,
okay,
oh
I'm going to
God.
try, right? And it's like, you're not going to do this, where maybe a few times she's shooting, and it's not going there,
Yes.
but then maybe finally she gets him, and it's like a shock, and maybe that's actually a little bit of humor,
or you
where
do
it's
one
like
of these where you stop. Oh yeah, where she does it by mistake and gets him like in the gut. I love that, and I also love her just if she was struggling and just like fuck it and just jump and start using it as a knife, jump on his back and be like, stop.
Oh my God. If this movie was made today, I think we would have had her say, after like 2 misses, say, fuck it, and just grab the remaining 4 and use them as like a one big gnarly kind of knife, and just with all 4.
Love that.
Yes. That would be.
Love that.
And
That's
then that white tank would really be bloody. She's not really covered in any blood, which
not enough.
Which is fine. And I said in my last episode, in my horror shorts, I've realized I really got to bloody him up more, for sure.
Yeah.
I got to get that extra set of clothes and just bloody him up.
You've also done a lot of horror shorts that are insidious and slow.
Yeah. It's a different,
People can't come out of the sea covered in blood.
There you go. Thank you.
I love that one so much. So good.
Thank you. Me too. But the haters gonna hate.
Jesus.
Whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that would have been really fun. Yeah. Now that we're thinking of other ways, and then she's covered in blood, and then she's there, and yeah. But overall, no complaints. I think it's a fun thrill ride. I think it's a total worthy entry in this kind of horror.
Yes.
Haven't seen any of the sequels. Have you seen any?
I have not seen any, and I actually kind of now can't wait. I hear the second one is incredible. I hear they really get into it. There's like a family. There's like an inbred family.
Oh.
And then
I just remember someone from American Idol is in one of the sequels. She like didn't win. She was lower in the top 10 or so, but I remember finding that out. I'm like, really? She's in like a direct-to-DVD sequel of Wrong Turn. But okay, maybe I
love that shit.
I don't know. I'm tempted to watch, but I just know the budgets are so low.
They're so bad. Seeing the fourth one, seeing clips from the fourth one, where like I think it's a prequel, and like the 3 brothers are in like a an asylum of old, like the old timey, like locked away behind actual bar asylum, but like. It looks the budget's very bad, and God bless, but these like 3 dudes are just kind of lumbering around being like inside of like this like cage, and the doctor's like, yes, they're inbred people, and like then they break out, I guess, or some shit. It
just feels so Sci-Fi Channel, but that has its charm. for sure.
It has its charm. I want to see, because apparently the kills in the second one are so fun and irreverent, and like it brings you, because Wrong Turn does sit in a place. I wish the MPAA hadn't fucked the, or MPAA, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I wish they hadn't done that. Why? In an mpa, you're gone. Is really that's what Hanson was trying to say, is overregulation and censorship of art.
Who knew?
Ugh, God, the geniuses. But yeah, like I wish that they, because it felt like they wanted to have not just more gore, because I like don't need it, but more like they had a very inventive level of deaths, and the idea that they went, like there's one apparent, I don't remember if it was like the fifth one or something, but they kill a girl like by she's trapped in the car, and or they get her out of the car, something happens, so she's like stunned standing, and one of them just takes like a giant axe and just cuts her right down the middle.
Wow.
And then the two dudes are dragging a separate half of a
Oh
person
my
off.
God.
And I'm like, this is such schlock that I love it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it gets so schlocky that you have to respect it, you know?
Yes.
You're like, you came up with this idea and you actually shot it, and it's in the movie. Wow.
Like, no, entirely clean in half, bro.
Wow.
And then they're dragging it home.
And then Terrifier did the opposite.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Yeah. Oof.
Yes.
Yeah. Rough. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe now we got to do a little binge and see how far we can get. I don't know. I am curious about a prequel. I am curious, to explore.
We have to watch the second one.
Okay,
though,
the second one.
It seems like everyone is saying the second one is the one that will get you into the vibe of it enough that you can tolerate, like the fourth one.
Yeah.
Like we love Halloween to the point where we were like, I'll still watch the third one. Hell yeah, Season of the Witch, throw it at me. I'll do. Okay, what? Michael Myers. Now it's a cult thing. All right.
Yeah, and actually, it's a good movie on its own. It just should not have been called Halloween 3.
It shouldn't have been.
And
should have been
speaking
like
of Halloween,
a Halloween story.
Yes, they wanted to really make that anthology, but don't call it Halloween 3.
And don't do it on the third one. You had to have done it on the second, or it's not. You're not going to make it an anthology.
I know. There you go. Right.
Yes.
But speaking of Halloween, this writer wrote Halloween 4. Isn't that a fun little horror connection? I do like Halloween 4.
I do like Halloween 4. It really, they were like, we're bringing it back. We've got
we're bringing it back to Haddonfield. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Back to Haddonfield.
So yeah, he had some good horror cred before writing the Wrong Turn movies. Yeah.
We're never going into the woods again.
May 30th, only in theaters.
But I realized, Kit, I should have done this literally 2 hours ago. But it's a fun way to kind of end the episode.
Yes.
Can you, in your own words, tell us what is Wrong Turn about? I realized, I never did that.
Yes, but these are my favorite because Wrong Turn is a film about who among us truly is the swim fan. But every movie is about who is the swim fan.
Who is the ultimate swim fan?
No,
it's Eliza.
It's Eliza. She loves swimming. That's why she's so good at archery.
She's so fit. Yes.
Yeah.
This was not an easy movie to shoot. Climbing, groveling.
Numerous bumps, and I just am covered in bruises, and sometimes we look and we don't know which ones are real and which ones are the fake ones that we're putting on.
A group of strangers and also friends meet up in the woods. Both of their cars have been totaled, and they have all run into these snares that have been put on the road specifically to catch people who have taken the wrong turn. And
there you go.
And then they must fight their way out of these inbred mountain men in a way that probably does ultimately offend West Virginians, and it is a beautiful state. Apologies all around. It's gorgeous.
I know, yeah. It is tricky to make a movie that makes a state look so iffy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there are a lot of good people. There are also a lot of inbred people in Georgia who don't do, or in Georgia, excuse me, and probably in Georgia too. There are a lot of inbred people up and down the Appalachian, Georgia to Maine, who are inbred and also don't kill anyone. So this is also maligning the inbred mountain people. They don't do things like this. Leave them alone. Yeah. But
man.
But yes, they have to fight their way out with lots of fun, horror, twists and turns, and an Appalachian good time to get back to the right turn.
Love it. Yes. Oh my God, there you go. What an ending. And that's why you really shouldn't go into those creepy cabins, guys. It only makes things worse. Thank you for listening to or watching this episode of Release Date Rewind. Please leave a rating or a thumbs up to let me know you liked it, and don't be afraid to subscribe. Thank you to my fellow movie-loving friend, my tank top final girl, Kit Sheehan. Video highlights of our conversation will soon be on Portland Media Center's website and YouTube page if you like to watch there. Thank you, PMC. And thank you, Straw Hut Media, Greg Clemens, and Kyle Motzinger. We're sticking with Stan Winston in the next episode and talking about an iconic, groundbreaking early 90s action movie he worked on. Can you guess what it is? Follow me on Instagram at ReleaseDateRewind to find out. Now, run away, everyone. Save yourselves. Go!